Hi everybody, thanks for joining. I'm Lynn with Plasma Energy Solution, and today is March 31st, 2020. I thought it'd be best to do something today instead of April Fool's Day. Have you guys take it seriously, right? So anyway, there is, for those of you that might watch this at the end of the day, our March special will end. It's on our website. And you'll see our special go up tomorrow, and it's Dr. Paul's birthday month. So I had something in mind for that, and you'll find it on our website. So be sure and take a look at that, and it will be good the whole month of March. And I want to address something about supply issues. I'm doing what I can to bring in supplies now, just in planning ahead, but I want to project out what could happen if we don't see a fast turnaround, okay? So here's a notice that I have put out. It says, due to supply issues, for now I will continue to send out the glass vials. Of course, that's with our weather willing, and we're pretty much into at least no low teens and below zero freezing weather, so I think it's safe to send out the glass vials now. So I will continue to send out the glass vials on the single orders and the medium and large preparedness packages. When I am no longer able to get the glass vials, I will send plastic vials. When or if I am no longer able to get the plastic vials, all orders will be done as they are for our out-of-country and overseas orders with the pairs of pads. Thank you for your understanding. And why would that be happening? Well, for one thing, the inventory supply chain, and maybe the glass bottles are made here, maybe the plastic lids come from overseas. Okay, now what are you going to do? You don't have a usable unit, and the same will go with the plastic vials, the plastic lids, and so forth. So the other issue that we have is the trucking issue, because truckers need to haul full loads, and if they're not hauling full loads, they're going to be operating at a loss. So you've just got to look ahead and see where all of that is going to end up also. So just in saying, well, are these really good enough, the pairs of pads? Well, these are things I'm replenishing from out of the country orders. So here's Healthy Gut, here's Healthy Senior, here's Virus Relief, and I think I have Mosquito in the Kitchen, and this is another batch that I just finished, and you can see how I do these. After they're soaked, I hang them up on these, and I put them in groups so that with a label on one of the hangers so I know what group this is. So right now I have 5 groups to replenish, and I've been replenishing for the last couple of weeks while we have quieter times and we're staying home more. So anyway, yes, these do work. How do I know that? People who have ordered from me are ordering more and more and more things, and this is the only way that they get them. So I want you to put that in your things to think about. And I have a few completed 16 vial plasma energy station packages, and when those are gone, we will go to the wintertime method of the 4 vials as the method. When and if those vials become unavailable, then it will be done the way all the overseas orders are handled. Somebody asked me one day, well, what are you going to do if you run out of paper towel and plastic bags? Well, you know what? I had a family overseas who ordered and they never got their package and they felt it might have been confiscated. I simply took printer paper and soaked it thoroughly and sent it to them with instructions. When you get your order, you take your paper and you fold it and you fold it again. Of course, they had several sheets. And then you're going to go ahead and cut it, and then you're going to do the folding so that you have the 3 parts and the 1 part, and put them in a protective surround. Well, it worked. And several months later, they wrote to thank me. They were so pleased with how the plasma energy water was working. They placed another order, and they said, please send it to us on the paper. So these are all just vehicles for the water. It's the plasma for the plasma energy. The plasma energy can travel on anything. It can travel on that. It can travel, this is this 16 vial all packaged up ready to send. So if you run out of paper, you've got cloth. So don't hold back just because you're going, well, I really like the way 16 vials look around a container, and don't get caught up on all that. What you're after are the benefits of the plasma energy water, okay? Then I want to read you something that somebody sent me. It was, we're just going through some interesting times right now. And this the website was called theconservativehouse.com. So I'm going to read this to you. Thankfully, as a nation, this crisis is causing us to reevaluate our priorities, faith, family, community, and freedom, and seeing the easy dispatch of liberty also reignites that oft-forgotten flickering flame. Journalists are less important than janitors. Our nation's best athletes are healthcare workers rushing to assist those in need. The true heroes are not celebrities, but rather farmers, truck drivers, stock clerks, and supermarket cashiers. The most valuable businesses do not glitter or present themselves with self-congratulatory award shows. They do today what they have always done to keep our food supply flowing. Perhaps now, at least for a few days or a few short weeks, we stop taking them for granted. Effective right now, comfortably invisible workers are recognized as critical priorities, or as the government has officially designated them, essential services. These folks form the network of our lives. They always have, but we didn't notice. Everything else is less than. An average hardworking American is worth more today than all those who chase the golden statues of Hollywood, and ultimately, if they want to go down the superiority path, well, what they provide is essentially useless. Florida Power and Light won the prestigious International Edward Deming Award for Excellence in Multi-Platform Engineering and Efficiency Superiority. They didn't blow every PhD intellectual out of the water with slide rules, CAD programs, and engineering acumen. They did it with hard hats and dirty fingernails. Because they lost the award, the Japanese spent 6 months studying FPL and later published a 1,000-page dissertation essentially saying FPL wasn't Florida Power and Light, wasn't really good, they were just lucky. FPL field leadership laughed, took out markers, and wrote on the back of their hard hats, "We're not good, we're lucky." When every single Kuwaiti oil field was blown up by Saddam Hussein, they said it would take over 5 years to cap them all and restart their oil pumping industry. The Kuwaitis and Saudis called the Texans, who had them all capped and back in working order in 10 months. We are a nation that knows how to get stuff done. When the northern Chile mine workers were trapped 2 miles underground, they said no one could save them. Who did they call for help? A bunch of hick miners from USA coal country who went down there, worked on the fly, engineered the rescue equipment on site, and saved every one of them. That's our America. Don't lose sight of it. When a half-breed Islamic whack job armed with an AK-47 and a goal to meet his virgins begins opening fire on a train in France, the Americans on board didn't run to the nearest safe room and hide themselves amid the baguettes and the brie. They said, "Let's go," and they beat the stuffing out of the little nut with a death wish. The Legion d'honneur or not, that's us. That's you. That's just how we roll. Lady Liberty can struggle along the Champs-Élysées with a swagger befitting Mae West because without her arrival they'd be speaking German in the Louvre. Yet for the better part of the past decades, groups of intellectual something or others have been selling to insufferable narrative that it's better to be sitting around a campfire eating unsustainable algae cakes and picking parasites off each other. Enough. Ordinary people just like you and me gave their lives and crashed Flight 983, a commercial airliner, into a field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, so they could save our nation's capital. Yeah, I think we can wash our hands, quit touching our faces, and stay inside. Oh, I think we can wash our hands, excuse me. Quit touching our faces and stay inside for a few days. In case you missed it, it wasn't FEMA driving jacked up monster trucks into flooded neighborhoods around Houston, Texas, to rescue people from their homes. It was a bunch of glorious rednecks assembled like the 2nd Division of the Cajun Navy, which also just happened to be a fabulous bunch of shallow water boat operators who convey their gear voluntarily into the aftermath of hurricanes and floods. That's America, folks, in all her magnificent colorblind glory. Get her done ain't government. And quoting from someone, truckers are saying, "Screw the log rules, I'm hauling," and they're getting supplies to the stores. People are stocking the shelves all night and letting the older people shop first. Folks are buying meals for truckers, who obviously can't go through the drive-ups, asking them what they want and then buying it for them. Carnival Cruise Line told Trump, "We can match those big Navy hospital ships with some fully staffed cruise ships." GM and Ford have said, "Hold our cars and watch this. We can make ventilators where we were just making car parts starting next week by re-engineering seat ventilators, which their engineers hacked together for a new purpose in under a week." In a project with which I'm loosely associated, this is the author speaking, a very effective agricultural disease control agent was repurposed and relabeled specifically for coronavirus control by the FDA and EPA in under 10 days, from initial request to distribution. Restaurants and schools have said, "We've got kitchen and staff. We can feed the poor kids who used to have school lunch." NBA basketballers have said, "Hold our basketballs while we write checks to pay the arena staff." Construction companies are saying, "Here are some high-end masks for medical staff and doctors." Distilleries are making sanitizer out of drilling heads and tails, which are normally discarded. Nasty stuff to drink, but effective sanitizer. People are tipping grocery checkout clerks and thanking them for taking the risk. Local, state, and county governments are taking control of everything the feds cannot do. Some are doing it wrong. But for the first time in decades, they're at least doing it. Federalism is re-emerging, and the smallest unit of government is the individual and the family. This too is re-emerging after decades of dormancy. As Japanese Admiral Isakuro Yamamoto said after Pearl Harbor, "I fear all we have done is to awaken a sleeping giant and fill him with terrible resolve." I sense this has just happened. We have a wonderful country, the greatest single force for good in all human history. We have closed our borders with good reason, yet we have top medical people now assisting North Korea in their response to the virus. Many things have been reset and will never be the same. By microbiological accident, we are living in profoundly transformative historical times. So I ask you a question: what part are you to play? If you feel comfortable sitting in your socially distant box and bitching about things that are not right or might not be right, or you prefer to allow yourself to be overcome with dark imaginings simply because what cannot be done is more comfortable than the effort to oversee what needs to be done, well, that's okay, you can do that. And when you're done doing that, you'll still be in the same place. Or you can check in on older neighbors to make sure they're okay and make sure they have necessities. If older neighbors need something at the store, get it for them. Friends and neighbors who are anxious, send them a card or a note with a positive comment on it. Give people hope. If you don't want to send a card, send an email. Check up on people. Order an extra lunch or dinner from a local restaurant. Excuse me, I'm getting a dry throat here. Order an extra lunch or dinner from a local restaurant so you can give them a tip to the delivery person who shows up at your door. Then stick the extra in the fridge and eat it tomorrow. We can do this. No one is saying this doesn't suck, but some people know that standing around bitching about the comparative values of current life is in suckdown doesn't actually accomplish anything. President Trump is doing what needs to be done with far more information than me, and in the best manner he can assemble to keep America great. He does this while simultaneously swatting away thousands of piranhas biting at him on an hourly basis. So again, ask yourself a question: what part are you to play? Live your best life. You only have this moment once. They had a great ending here, and what they said, there's a phrase in many parts of the country, and it might be man up, suck it up, whatever up. Well, this one was cowboy up. And so here's the picture that came along with it. And I think some of us may be feeling like the little guy in the boots and the cowboy hat, standing in front of the great unknown of the Brahma bull. Was this a political message from me? No. I don't even want to address any of that part of it. What I want to say is I hear a lot of people saying, well, when everything gets back to normal, I'll be real glad when it all gets back to normal. Guess what, you guys? What if we're living in the new normal? It's time now to reassess where we are. You can do your own research on the internet. I've done a lot of research. What is this virus? Dr. Paul vaccinated for coronavirus in dogs in the 70s, starting in the 70s when he started practice. It was a very contagious upper respiratory virus. Well, we have a lot more aspects that we're hearing about the current virus in the news. I want you to research it, and I want you to study, and I want you to think. And here's something I want you to think about. Wuhan was the first city to roll out 5G. 5G was rolled out in some foreign countries that are struggling with aspects of this virus. There have been comparisons of x-rays of lungs of people that have had this quote-unquote virus and the lung aspect of the virus, and their x-rays look very similar to people who've had lung radiation damage. So I want you to think about that. And I want you to think about something more that occurred to me one day. Am I a conspiracy theorist? Not necessarily. I'm a thinker. Those who don't study history are doomed to repeat it. So I've always been interested in history. I've been interested in what happened in other places in other times. And there was never a, oh, everything went back to normal. No, everything went to a new normal. And sometimes a new different normal, and sometimes a new different normal beyond that. I'm going to give you one last thing to think about. It is said that some of those people who have collapsed may have been on cell phones. They may have been near certain types of radiation emitting towers. And they may have been completely paralyzed for 3 minutes or so before they passed, before they died. So if that's true, they were completely paralyzed and they were completely aware that they could not breathe. So we're told this is an old people's virus. There's a lot of young people walking around talking on their cell phones as they're walking around. I want you to think about that. And I want you to think about one more thing. Years ago, when Dr. Paul was a practicing mixed practice, Saturday mornings at his first practice could be somewhat of a rodeo. And sometimes horses would be brought in that needed some type of treatment, but they weren't very well trained, or they weren't even trained at all. They'd been coaxed somehow into a horse trailer, and they weren't even halter broken. Once in a while, he used I guess I'll call it a tranquilizer. I remember the name of it. It was Secostrin. He would administer it to the horse. The horse would drop to the ground. He could do the treatment he needed to do, and he had to do it fast because he had about 3 minutes. And then the horse would get up. And the horse was fully conscious, but the horse could not move any muscles. He had to be very careful with that, because that could kill the horse if he didn't administer it properly. In other words, if he overestimated the amount that was needed. So I want you to put on your thinking caps. You're at home. You've got plenty of time. Start asking questions. Start looking into things. Turn off the TV and start thinking. And look around and see if you have anything in your house that you can read that tells you about the history of other times. And start thinking about what is it that the new normal is going to look like. Okay, so that's it. There is going to be a special for April, since that was Dr. Paul's birthday month. And you'll need to go to the website to find out what it is, and you'll have to go to the website to find out what the coupon word is. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. Be well, stay safe, communicate with those people around you, communicate with some that you used to see on a regular basis that maybe you're not seeing right now. Because sometimes things become out of sight, out of mind. So have a good week. Have a good month. And be sure to go to our website, plasmaenergysolution.com. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. And please do share it with your friends if you wish to. And also give me a thumbs up if you wish to do that. Have a great day.